Want to sit with mommy? Yeah, that's a good girl. I love you. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Akila and I'm a yoga teacher, but today we're going to be doing more of a commentary video. And today I wanted to talk about being a morning person versus being a night owl and why you don't actually have to be a morning person in order to get a lot done. Currently it is nearly 5:30 in the morning here, and you might be wondering, Akila, why is it that you're saying you don't have to be a morning person, but you're filming a video at 5:30 in the morning? It's because I haven't slept yet. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how there's kind of been this wave of really influential people all kind of hopping on the same train of like the 5 o'clock wake up, and how people that get up early are more productive, and all of this kind of narrative around morning people, early bird catches the worm kind of thing. So while I do kind of agree with some of the sentiments of the importance of having a routine, having consistency, everything like that, I actually think that this mindset of waking up at 5 o'clock every day and being productive and all that kind of stuff that's being promoted is actually really an exclusive mindset, because there's a lot of people in this world that it's gonna be physically impossible for them to wake up at that time while also getting enough sleep. So for me, I'm a bartender, so majority of the time my shift goes until 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not going to be waking up at 5 o'clock when I get home at 3:30. By the time I eat, wind down, it's going to be 4. Am I supposed to operate on an hour of sleep so I can get up at 5 and be this most productive, perfect version of myself? It's not realistic. And there's a lot of people that it's not realistic for them either. You've got, nurses, doctors, all healthcare workers really, that are on shift work. Maybe their schedule changes. Bonnie's gonna say hello to the camera here. Bonnie, you wanna say hello? Sticking your nose into camera. I lost my train of thought. Ah yes, healthcare workers. So there's a lot of jobs. Maybe you're working security on a night shift at the mall. Maybe you're security for a nightclub at a bar. Maybe you're a bartender. Maybe you're a healthcare worker. There's all of these people that work jobs that they have to be awake at night. And maybe they're leaving work. It takes a while to wind down. They're not going to be most productive at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes they're still at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. And they get home at 6 and then they want to go to bed. So while I do agree with the fact that it's important to have a consistent routine, I don't agree that the 5 o'clock wake up is the recipe for the most productive person in the world. Because let me tell you, you can be consistent and put in the effort to work towards your goals at any time of the day. People say, oh, we all have the same 24 hours. Yes, that's true, but we don't always have the same obligations at the same times of day in those 24 hours. And I think the reason that I wanted to talk about this and why I feel so passionately about it is because in the yoga world, I think it's very much perpetuated that the earlier you get up, the better kind of thing. And, waking up to see the sunrise. I usually go to bed seeing the sunrise. I'm probably going to see the sunrise as I'm filming this video before I go to bed. So I think that's why I felt passionately to talk about this. But it's not just in yoga spaces that we're hearing this narrative. And of course, I would love to be in a position where I had a more consistent cycle where I could try to be a morning person and keep that schedule. I don't know, if I'm lucky, you might subscribe to the channel and I could start doing this for a living instead of bartending. I'm just saying. You could click the subscribe button now and help me out. But for the time being, in my current reality, I have to be awake at night. So I'm here to tell you that if you want to be productive and if you want to kind of have a similar mindset to all of these influential people who are telling you to wake up at 5 and get everything done, you can still achieve that. It doesn't matter what time of day you're doing it. Like I said earlier, we all have the same hours in the day, but sometimes we can feel pressured by all of these people saying that 5 a.m., 6 a.m. wake-ups are going to help you be successful, that we are so fixated on that schedule and that time frame that we try and force ourselves to adhere to that. So I know for me personally, up until very recently, I was trying to do the 5 o'clock wake up even though I was going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. There are some days that I still feel pressured to try and wake up early, especially this time of year where I live. It gets dark really early. So if you aren't awake during those light hours, it can be a lot harder to have the motivation to get stuff done. But I'm here to tell you that if you want it, it is possible, and you can still make the most of the hours that you're awake. It's just a matter of being disciplined and really trying to tune out all of that noise of people telling you this is the one way to be productive. This is the one way to get, ouch, why are you biting my knee? I know, baby, your teeth are falling out, but please don't bite my knee. Do you feel sorry? I know you do, baby. You're such a sweet girl. Bonnie keeps making me lose my train of thought. You're too adorable, I can't focus. So let's talk a little bit about how I'm currently navigating this. And this is not to say that I'm the expert in productivity or success, but I have found ways to be consistent and to try and discipline myself even though my schedule is not the norm and is irregular and I'm having a little bit more trouble staying motivated when it's dark outside. There might be some things that I've come up with that might be helpful to other people in the same situation. So the first thing that I will say is if you're tired, sleep. For me, I often get into work around 4 o'clock, maybe sometimes a little earlier or a little bit later, depending on the day, depending on what we have reservation-wise at the bar that I work at. But a lot of the time, I really try and force myself to do my training or my yoga practice, whatever it is I'm doing that day. I really try to aim to get it done before I go to work because for me, after I'm done at work, I usually am quite drained, quite tired. I've physically been doing a lot while at work. So if you're a person that has a very physical job, it can be really beneficial to you to try and plan to do any exercise or routine that you have movement-wise before you go to work. Also, that helps me to feel better when I am at work. It helps me to feel more mobile. It helps me to be kinder to the people that I'm interacting with. It helps me reduce stress. So I do encourage to try and fit your movement practices in, whatever they may be, before you get to work. That being said, if you're exhausted, just getting yourself out of bed for the sake of doing the workout is not necessarily going to benefit you. You might not do it to the fullest capability. You might not do it for as long as you would normally do it. So it's not the end of the world if you rest that day. Maybe you don't do it at all, or maybe you plan to do it after you're finished at work. Maybe you can gauge it. If you have the energy, maybe you can fit it in afterwards. Maybe that means you stay up later and you sleep in longer the next day. I know for me, I sometimes get into this mindset of feeling like I have to have it planned perfectly and it has to go a certain way. But for example, today I woke up, I felt like garbage. I was so tired and I was looking at the time and trying to say, okay, I need this amount of time to do my training today. If I get up now, I can get it done, but is it going to be great because I don't feel good? Probably not. So I looked at my schedule and I said, I might be done a little bit earlier tonight because of the way I'm scheduled. Why don't I just see if I have the energy to do it afterwards and see if I feel better after work? And I got home from work and I took a nap and then I had the energy to do my training, which if I had done it before and really stuck to that rigid mindset of saying, okay, I have to do this here, I probably wouldn't have had as good of a session as I did doing it after work. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about and touch on a little bit, I know it's slightly off the topic of morning person versus night owl, but I think sometimes that in this advice that we're given, sometimes there's this mindset that you have to have a lot in each day fit in. And sometimes less can be more, because the value of consistency is so much greater than the value of volume. So something I've been trying to find balance in my own lifestyle, in my own routine, is knowing when I'm putting too much on my plate. Because sometimes I plan for a day and I think, oh, I'm going to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And realistically, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I would much rather plan to do less and actually get everything done that I've set out to do than plan for a lot and then feel badly about myself when I don't achieve all of those things. So building up habits, it's just so important to be realistic and gauge how much you can get done properly. Another reason why I feel so strongly about this is because there were so many days where I felt so badly about myself because I said I was going to get up early and I didn't because I was too exhausted. I said I was going to do all of these things and I didn't because I didn't have the time. And that doesn't set you up to feel good about yourself or feel like you can conquer these things that you want to achieve. So take, for example, if you want to read more and you say, I'm going to read for an hour every day before bed. That's a massive commitment if you've gone from not reading at all to reading for an hour and having a very specific time frame in which you want to do that. So an example of how you could shift this to build a better habit would maybe be, I'm going to take my book with me on my commute to work. If you drive to work, maybe you listen to an audiobook. If you take the train, maybe you take your book with you and you just read for as long of a duration as your train ride is. That was a little shift that I did for myself personally with meditation. I used to say, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to meditate before I do anything else in the morning. And I'm going to wake up earlier so I can do my meditation. Now I do my regular morning routine, or I should say afternoon routine, and I meditate when I get on the train. So I put on my headphones, I close my eyes, and I put on a meditation that is the duration of my train ride. So I've shifted my mindset and said, okay, this is something that I want to achieve. Where can I put it in my routine that makes me the most likely to do it? Just because somebody says you should get up and meditate immediately before you do anything else, and that is the best way to do it, that is how everyone does it that's successful. You could instead say, I could take an activity that I'd probably just be sitting and scrolling on my phone and turn it into something that is going to be better for me. And you just layer those habits on top of each other. So my habit is I take the train to work. So I just layer the habit of meditating on top of that habit. And then it's easier to maintain. So that is most of what I think I wanted to touch on for this particular video. My hope is that if there's anybody out there that's feeling similarly to the way that I was feeling when I was trying to force myself into these structures and these routines that were being portrayed to me as the right way to do things and the right way to be successful, that you can now realize that there is other ways to go about it, and you don't have to wait until you have a more ideal situation to try and better yourself and create habits that are going to make you feel good about yourself. You can do these routines at any time of the day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be the same time every week. If you're a person that does shift work, you have to give yourself grace. It's not your fault that your schedule is sometimes overnight and sometimes during the day, but it is possible to prioritize yourself and do good things for yourself, even if it's not at the expected time of day. So go forth, my night owls, and be great. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, again, please subscribe and please like the video. If you've got any suggestions for other videos you want to see from me, whether it's yoga classes you'd like to try or just commentary videos like this, you can leave it in the comments below. I will take it into consideration. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. It doesn't matter. You can be great any time of day. I'll chat to you guys soon.